Hey guys, welcome to part 4, dragging this thing out of the woods. I'm going to try to do this little video a little bit different than I did part 1, 2, and 3. A little bit more action, a little less talking. You know, this thing was a lot more cleaner when I had it in part 1 when I first brought it home, but it's been down there in them trees. But well, time to start working on this thing. I've got it parked on this hill. I got like a little bit of a hill here. As you can see, to help drain the water out the back. There's a little hump here, so if I have to, I could all scotch it and run my jack up higher if I need to drain a little more. Water's draining out of it now, so we'll see how that does. Let's get this pressure washer out and start cleaning it up. First I'll get the shop back out and clean all them pine needles and stuff out, and then get the pressure washer out here in a minute. Got her pretty good. Still need to get those handles and wheels, and somebody said you gotta take them off and use some round of rubbing compound, but that's good enough for right now. I'm gonna do some more extensive cleaning once it's on the water. But pressure washed it real good. Got the engine bay cleaned pretty good. I need to get in there a little bit more. I ain't decided yet. I'm gonna let it dry up a little bit. I had to take a shop vac because a lot of this won't drain out even when you got it turned up. So I'm fixing to go get the battery out of that little SPX, put it in here, because it'll power, that little battery will power this stuff just easy as a jet ski, you know, just a bigger version of jet ski. I know, see that plugs into the stator, and then got the bilge right there. So I don't know. I'm gonna get the battery, hook it up, and we'll put it, and we'll see if it beeps and the blower works. We'll check some stuff out here, and if I don't know if I can get the old, I might have to lay the old engine down here and plug the stator up. Just I don't know. So we'll see. I'm just gonna check all that stuff. The bilge and the blower. Bilge may not work because look, can't really tell. Somebody may has added that at the float, which was broke. When I was pressure washing, it was just flopping around, so it may be broke. But I think this thing originally didn't have a float, and it's got a control up there for it. So, and we'll see. All right, so we'll get that battery and get her put in there, and we'll see where we're at. Had two negatives. I guess you're saying I put one and I seen the other one. When I connected the other negative that was running up through here, it made a click sound. So, and I've got two of these in here. I didn't think, I think in part 1 I said I was gonna have to get these, but they were buried. There's two of them in here. There's that one and this one. Both just got old. I'm gonna replace them, but there's two of them here. Put it on there, see if it beeps. No chirp. Put the other one in there. See if it chirps. Okay. It's not chirping, but let's put it back off. It's not chirping, but I hear a click back here, and the oil light's coming on. This one, it didn't. Oh, it did. It did. Yeah, oil lights on. and there's a click back there. So both of them is working. The beeper may be bad. So, all right, let me step up in this thing and we'll see if the blower or anything works. Let's put this back on here. Okay, solenoid's working. I hit the start button, I hear solenoid clicking. Alright. But the bilge ain't working, which there's some loose wires in there, I've seen that, so. But the blower ain't working. Blower's right here, it's not coming on. And let's see if the lights are coming on. Yep. Front wheel light's coming on. So front light's coming on. Back one, the pole was in that little thing that goes down in there. So not bad. All lights are on, so. Blower and bilge. Well, bilge ain't gonna work anyways, but like I said, the wire's loose, so. Kind of neat. So the beeper may, I think the chirper, it's in here. I seen it when I pulled that out, so it may be bad. But I mean, it's working because that oil light wouldn't come on. So. Let me check some fuses here, and we'll see on the blower. The bilge, I don't expect the bilge to work like I said about the wire loose, but the blower should work. So let me check the fuses out and the wires on that. Alright, checked all the fuses. You know, none of these, I pulled that cover off just to check the fuses, just to be checking if all of them are good. Man, everything's nice and clean inside. I checked all the fuses in there, and the blower was blowed. But there's a reason why it was blowed. There's actually a 7.5 spare one in the spare container right here. So I'm gonna have to get a little box of fuses to keep in this thing. So all the other fuses in this thing were good except for the blower fuse. But the reason why the fuse was blowed is because the blower was locked up. But I was able to free up and it's working now. All right, you can see the oil light's on. I was able to pull it out, and I pulled it out. It's got like a little ring in the bottom. It's an aftermarket one, so it's been replaced. So I just wonder if the beeper, I like to have that. Somebody may have disconnected it just because I'm gonna check it out, because they may got tired of hearing that chirp. But you don't really need it, but it lets you know that it's connected. So check it out and see if it's the reason why. So now I'm going to check out the bilge, check all that out, and see, check all the wiring out in that little situation there, figure out what's going on there. And then I might see if I can get that out to drain the fuel out of it. So I was fooling with the beeper, got the beeper out, and everything is working up to it. I could barely, it had a dirt dauber's nest in there. I tried to get some of it out, it wouldn't come. I mean, maybe I can try to get some more of it out, I don't know. But I know the unit is, well, not this is working, but I know everything else is working, because I can hold this up to my ear and I can hear 2 thuds, you know, like it's trying to beep. So I know that everything back here is working like it should, and everything's working like it should. It's sending a signal to make it chirp twice, so I can barely hit 2 thuds. So I may try to see if I can clean it out. If not, I'll buy one, put it in there. Not a big deal. Looks like, I mean, looks like the electrical's pretty good shape so far. You know, I'll check that village out, like I said, which is not a big thing, you know. It's pretty easy replaceable, so it's not too bad. All right, let's check this village out, see where we're at on it. All right, I got the village out right here. Couldn't get it to work. The float, I don't know. I tried the village don't work at all. The plug up here going to it, this one right here is getting, when you turn the village on, you know, without even the key on, it'll put 12 volts right to it. And I hooked the village straight to that battery right over there, still didn't work. So I need to replace that village before I put the engine in, because, you know, you put that thing in there, you won't even be able to see the village. You'd have to pull the engine back up. So all this, you know, I'm trying to replace all this stuff and fix all this stuff before I put the engine in. So, and obviously I'm gonna pull the jet pump out, you know, and have it lined, replace these two boots. So yeah, it was caked with mud. I mean, it had like dirt, pretty slimy. So in the float situation, I'm gonna see if I can try to find a wire ground for that float, because I tried to jump it. I tried to pretend like a float, and this is obviously going to that float, and I tried to jump a wire across it, and it wouldn't do nothing. It wouldn't send 12 volts to it until I manually turned the village light on. So I'm gonna try to figure that out and see where I'm at on that. All right, I've been doing some monkey around with the village. Now the village is fully locked up. It's gonna have to be replaced. That thing right there, it kind of broke off when I was down there messing with it. I think this is the Seadoo relay or something, or sensor. I don't know how this thing works. A couple minutes ago I asked on the Facebook Seadoo Sportster jet boat page about it. Ain't got a reply back yet on it, but I thought about, you know, a lot of people will just put a village in there. It's got a built-in float, but the way that's designed, they're twice as big, so you'd have to cut that, modify that. I'd rather just put the same type of village that's, it will just fit right in that same hole, and then either figure this little deal out, or if that plug that this thing plugged into, which is right there, that if it, you know, I could just plug a float in there and it'll use the same wiring harness, or what. Because I've been reading online, which when I plug this, you know, I plug my meter into the plug, that thing it plugs up to the village, and you run up there and turn the switch on, it'll put 12 volts on it without the key on. But I heard that the only time the auto part works is when you got the key on, when you got the plug on, the beep beep, you know, the plug in there, and that's the only time the auto part works. So I'm trying to figure out how that works. If it works, I can, if it does work, see it kind of broke off there, I can JB wheel it back on there. I don't know if it does work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy a new village, put in there. While I was in there messing around, I knocked this one off. This motor mount right here, I've already with my foot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and buy all brand new ones. I was gonna use the ones out of the other one, but they're gonna rip probably when I take them. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy 4 new ones. Just replace them. I ain't gonna worry about them. And then I got a broke piece up here I gotta fix. So I gotta do that. So I'm gonna see if I can get this thing out of here. That little situation. I may quit working on the village and start working on the fuel tank, getting it drained and getting all that out of there, and see if that fuel gauge works. Alright guys. do a little bit more work, and then I'm gonna call it a day. And then, you know, obviously I should have, hopefully by the end of this part 4, it should be on the water running halfway decent. So, but yeah, I'm gonna order all that stuff and then install all it, and obviously I gotta take that out, and like I've said, alright, because you know what that is. I had to take the fuel tank out. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because I was able to get the float out, but either the cap was already off or it came off while I was pulling it out, and then the little float with the magnets on it or whatever fell out in the bottom of the fuel tank. But the fuel tank is not bad. You know, it seemed like all the gas evaporated and all that's left in there is oil. So I'm gonna try to get that float and that cap out of there while cleaning it out. Once I do that, I believe I'm gonna call it a day. Alright, I'm gonna call it a day. Still ain't figured out if that's the relay or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and order a billage. I was able to get the tank pretty clean, sitting right over there. I was able to get the float out and the little cap. You can see it's lighter colored. I got it out, and I put the float in there and put the cap in there and hooked the battery back up and took it and turned it, and the fuel gauge works great all the way down. I mean, it ain't just all or nothing. You can turn it and it'll slide a little bit and you'll see the gauge move a little more. So I think what's happening, and the cap fits tight, so I think when I jerked that thing out at an angle like that, because you had to get it at an angle, when I jerked it at an angle like that, it pulled the cap off, I believe. So I believe I'm good to go right now. So I believe I'm gonna call it a day. Probably won't work on it. Today's Saturday, Memorial Day weekend, so I probably won't work on it anymore until next week. I'm gonna order a buzzer and a village and some other things. I'm just gonna go ahead, like I said, I'm gonna replace new motor mounts. I'll pull the pump out this week, jet pump out, and start pulling the engine out of the XPX this week. So, you know, those probably won't be here till next weekend, those motor mounts. So hopefully they'll come pretty quick, and hopefully I'll have this thing on the water in about 2 weeks if everything goes well, knock on wood. So, but everything checked out. You know, like I said, you know, it just needs a buzzer and got the blower unstuck and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day and start cleaning it up. See me clean my messes up, and it's not too bad. Not too bad. All right, I'm gonna try to get this jet pump out. You last seen this a couple days ago. That was on Saturday. This is on Monday. Memorial Day, or off today. I'm going to try to get this out because you last seen me getting that float and stuff out of the gas tank. So like I said, I was going to order new motor mounts, new village. I want to install a RPM tachometer in that little space up there. I'll explain more on that later. Some motor mounts, some oil lines, and it probably won't. I'm gonna order all that later tonight. I'm pulling all this out because you gotta have this out to do an alignment once the engine's in there. Plus, I want to check out the wear ring and all that stuff. Check all that out, and then I'm not gonna put that back in there until, you know, the engine's been aligned, it's ready to go. And then as soon as I get this put out, check it out, I'm gonna start pulling the engine out of the SPX. That's all I can do is that, and pull that engine out until these parts won't come until the end of the week. So next weekend I won't go back working on it. That's about all I can do. I may, if I have 4 good motor mounts, I may just kind of stick them in there and lay the engine in there and check my oil line routes and make sure there's enough there. Kind of go from there. So working on this thing. Alright. Yeah, it looks like that's what's happened. You can see, I guess that's what's happened. Somebody has just put a bunch of caulking in there. I think these are supposed to have a big O-ring. I'm gonna have to look. Yeah, see the caulk in there. That probably would have leaked, I guess. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of gasket maker. Yeah. Let's check on about rebuilding these things. As far as it's a little chewed up in there, but it's pretty tight. I mean, it only ran for 10 years, obviously. Turns loose. We got that out. So it's pretty good there. Alright, I'm doing a little bit more inspection here. And this part was either it was cracked and you can see the caulking on it. You know, that's your cooling tube that the jet pump pushes the water through the engine. So either I had to do some research on how to get that out. So I don't know if I broke it when it was around that caulk in there, because I don't know much. I'm this first jet pump I ever took out, or it was already cracked, and because some of that was chewed out where I was taking a screwdriver and putting it in there at an angle and turning it like this to get it out. I had to do some research on how this comes out. So yeah. I thought I was screwed there for a minute when I said it broke off, and I found out this is threaded, and I was like, well, I found some pictures of them. When I seen it was threaded, I'm like, oh, it's threaded, and I just, took a screwdriver and pried it and started twisting it. So, but it looks like somebody's never replaced the seal. I've done a little bit more research, and it looks like somebody they just used the same seal and just caulked all this and stuck it in there, caulked all that. But I'm gonna get all that off there and put a brand new seal around this. I'm gonna split this right here, and I may go ahead and just put a new wear ring in there. I don't know, the wear ring looks fine. It's a little chewed there, and obviously, yeah, it's pretty chewed right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's just, it's been sitting since 2006, so it's been sitting for 14, 15, 16 years. So all right, let me get those bolts out right there, start taking them out. I'll have to have an impeller tool. I've seen people do it on the ground where they put a big braking bar right here and put a wrench and they step on it and push on it to get that impeller out. So you know, might as well. I mean, I had this out doing alignment, so. All right, let's take these bolts right here out. All right, got this apart. Now all the rubber pieces for the nuts are in there, except for this one, which you saw me. I take a screwdriver in there because it just kept turning. I'm like, is it stripped out? So pull that off. Yeah, that thing's. Yeah, that's just, people just don't want to buy new seals or nothing. They're like, oh, that's good enough, and they just run a big bead of caulk. Yeah, a bunch of it's still stuck on there. I'm gonna have to peel it all off. Nah, that's not a big deal. What happens when you buy a $800 boat? But these things sell for about $3,500, $4,000 in good running shape. So, I mean, I'll have less than 2,000 in it roughly. I mean, if everything knock on fiberglass, you know, I ain't got no wood to knock on right at this moment. It just been, so, you know, I may just put a new wear ring in there. I don't know. I ain't decided yet. Just to lights out, rebuild the whole jet pump, new wear ring, whole new kit, everything. To do it all up. I mean, it turns fine, but it don't turn. I don't know how tight these are supposed to be. I don't know if you're supposed to turn them and they really spin. I mean, and it's not hitting on the wear ring either. It's not. It's like, so. I mean, it feels like it drags. I mean, I don't know. It's the first one I've ever had out. So, I've gone about as far as I can because I'll have to have a tool for this. Goes down in there to get that out. So, get that thing out of there. So, alright. I mean, I could spend my time trying to clean all that off and clean all that off on the back. I'm gonna try to get that shaft out of there. Uh-oh, the deadly SPX is back again. Well, I told you in part 3, I said, next time y'all see this thing, I'll be pulling the engine out, so that's what we're gonna be doing. I just got done pulling the jet pump off the same tools laying out here. I just pulled the jet bolt away and unhooked it down in the back of the field and hooked this up and brought it up here. I got the jet pump laying on my picnic table. I don't think it had a seal in it at all. I think somebody used some black caulk because it is stuck to the, it's just gonna take some time to get all that off there. And as I was getting it off, part of the wear ring broke, so that tells me the wear ring is, I'm gonna replace. I'm gonna rebuild the whole jet pump, buy a new seal, everything. So I'm gonna be doing that next week. That's more in the evenings after work, you know. So let's get you set up here and start pulling this engine out.
Seems like I've got all the lines up hooked, fuel lines, and I got starter wire, stator wire, all the bolts out. As you've seen in that past footage where I had to split the manifold in two to get it out. It wouldn't come out unless I split that clamp off there. So I believe it's about ready to go. I got to slid it forward to get it off the shaft. Got all the oil lines, fuel lines, oil's pouring out the bottom. So I straddle this thing, get it out. Put one here. Slide it forward, get it off the shaft. Shaft stuck. Whew. That shaft is in there. There it goes. There it is. All right. Perfect. I'm gonna have to take the manifold off or the carburetor off to get it out. It looks like everything's loose. This way. Alright, I might have to take some more stuff off. Not gonna come out. Looks like I might have to take the manifold off. Get it out. Now let's take it off. Alright, I got the manifold off. It's like 8 bolts, 4 for each cylinder. Probably been easier to pull the carburetors off, but I got new gaskets, base gaskets on the carburetors. I didn't want to buy another set. And I do have an extra set because I bought a top gasket and the 2 on the side just in case, because I knew how to pull the muffler off in case I ripped it, new gasket would go on, and it come with 2 down there too. So I didn't rip them when I took it off. So try number 2. I'll be mad if I take the carburetors off. I'll be hot. Carburetors up this way. There it is. Whew. before I drop this thing on my leg or something. Whew. Now the job. Woo. The job there. Let's take y'all over here, check it out. Manifold stuff there. Yeah, there it is. See, that's that yellow starter I was talking about. That looks like an aftermarket Denso. Made in Japan. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely rebuild this one. This is the one that was with the jet boat. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely rebuild that one because that looks like the OME. I mean, the boat was only 10 years old when they decided to park it for it. Registration run out in 2006. I mean, it could have blowed up in 04, 05. Could have been a three-year registration. Don't know. So 10 or less. This thing is. So definitely, I might keep that one as a spare. But I got to rebuild it. I went ahead and bought it because I did that on a Kawasaki, rebuild it. But yeah, here we are. Don't look like it even ripped the gaskets. None of them. I mean, those look like in perfect shape. It never even ripped them or flared them or nothing. Same way with that topping. Look at that. I'll just clean it and put them old gaskets back on there. See, there's where I cut the oil line. So, yeah, I'll bolt all that back on there and tighten it up before I drop it in there. I'll bolt this back up. Be able to check the cylinder walls out now a little bit. I can tell them right here, they look pretty good. But what I'll do is I'll bolt this down on there. Or I might stuff me some rags or something in there where I can get this clean. So I'm gonna pressure wash this, just out on the gravels, real good. Spray some mean green and stuff on it, purple power. Pressure wash it real good. So I may just stuff some rags up in there so I can get down in that. And down, like I said, down in here real good. Because if I put that manifold, it'd be hard to get. Ground bar. I think I cut this right here with a pair of snippers, but it was easier to just pull off the filter, so I may have run this oil line. But all the oil lines in the jet boat are intact. One of them is still connected to the old motor, and the other one's still connected to the tank in the boat. So I'll use them, and they feel flexible. They feel great. So, all right. Other than cleaning this up, I'm about done. Yeah, so there's the I'll adjust that up real good, prime it. More place the oil lines, this one and this one. There's the one I cut. Yeah, I did cut it a little bit right there, kind of get it out. I couldn't see down in there. I mean, I think that motor right here cleaned up pretty well. Look at that, it'll clean up pretty well. Let it spray it, let it soak. Alright. I've noticed something, let me get this out of the way. I noticed something, let me get the old motor. I think I kind of showed it in part one. And I wonder if this has something to do with it blowing up. Alright. There's the old motor. I don't want to have the jet boat. If I noticed, because I'm not familiar, you know, the Kawasaki just had the one oil line going to the oil pump in the front, and then two oil lines going to the carburetor. It didn't have that oil going in the block or nothing, so I'm not familiar with that. But see, there's one line in. I think this is the line that goes in from the bottom of the tank, and then it comes back out at the bottom right here and goes back in the tank, and then you got your oil going into the pump. Where this one's got the oil line in the bottom right here, as you can see. So there's the block off where somebody pre-mixed it. I may have been what blowed it up. I don't know. You know, didn't realize these. I don't know. You know, I don't know if you still have to run oil in these. I'm gonna run the oil pump. So you see here, it's missing. It's on it on that one and missing. So I wonder if that's broke off. It is broke off. Huh. You can see it broke plumb off. But I had a gut feeling that's where it went in because it looked funny before I checked it out. And I looked at the end of the hose in the jet pump because that part of the hose is still in the jet pump, and it wasn't, the clamp was on it, but the piece wasn't in there. So I wonder if that's what happened. Well, all I know to do is start cleaning up because I may get the pressure washer out, clean that right quick. See how that does. Go from there. All right, I'll show this. This is the shaft out of the jet boat. This is the shaft out of the SPX. Same exact. Now look at this on the end. This is out of jet boat SPX. Look at the end of that. Look where that's rounded off there. I didn't know. It's like the splines on the gear was back here, not up here, and it rounded. So this shaft was gone. So look at that. I am tickled to death. Flip them around here. And you see it's got the rubber boot on the end. Is this and don't. That's why it looks like it's longer. But look. God, I'm tickled to death. Oop. I get the camera up here. Look at that. It just that hair longer because that rubber boot's on the end of it, and I'll put it in. Well, no, I mean, why would I put it in this one since I'm going to use this one? Look at that. God, I'm plumb tickled. I seen that and I said, let me go up there and grab that. But yeah, tickled to death about that. What I've done is I took all the old engine parts from the jet boat that I am not going to use and put them in the SPX. I had them all on the back of the truck. So I'm debating on just keeping this thing, just selling the trailer. Just, you know, hooking a rope to it and jerking it off the trailer and then fixing the light, sell the trailer and just keep that in the back of the woods out of sight and just use it as a spare parts holder. I don't know, maybe. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this thing down there. I'm gonna pull it all the way back down there and back it in there, unhook it, grab the jet boat, back it back up here, and then load all these parts up here in the jet boat, and I'm gonna call it a day until. But I'm gonna go ahead and order some of the parts tonight, the motor mounts and everything like that. And between now and the parts come in here, I gotta make a couple errands. I'm gonna pressure wash this thing real good, and then I gotta run to the clerk's office to get the boat registered. And then there's a shop down south Pittsburgh. I'm gonna go down there and sells these things used and see if this guy's got an alignment tool that he may be able to do it for me or something. I can bring it down there and whatever. So I'm gonna do that this week, and maybe the parts will be in here by next weekend, and I can start putting that engine in there and going from there. All right, got my fuel tank back in. What else did I do? Took the old motor mounts off. The shims are still in the right spot like they're supposed to be. Fixed to wash the engine. Sprayed it down with purple power. Let it soak for a little bit, and I've got rags stuffed in the manifold and the carburetors. As you can see, I got one rag stuffed in both sides. Rag stuffed. I mean, there's probably gonna be a little bit of water in there, but so I'm letting her soak right now with purple power on it. Spray it down. And I've got her parked in the shade today. It's getting pretty hot. A lot of the parts will be here by the weekend. Today is the 1st of June. Motor mounts will be here tomorrow. I've talked to the guy that's got the shop in South Pittsburgh, and he's leaving out on the 6th. And so maybe I can get these motor mounts in here and get the motor in here and then take it down there either Friday or Saturday. Maybe he can line it in one day and get that done. So nothing else much going on. So
fixing to rebuild the starter. As soon as I get it cleaned up, I'm gonna rebuild the starter, and I'm gonna try to get more goop off this. I probably won't film on that. I should, but I'm not going to. So let's see what we got. I'm gonna spray this thing off, and we'll see where we're at. All right, seems like the engine's cleaned up pretty well. Pretty satisfied. I don't mind putting it in there looking like that. Clean engine. I like it. Pretty good. Well, hopefully that stuff will come in tomorrow. And my motor mount stuff, and I get this thing put in there. Because I'm just going to mount it in there like that and just leave it. You know, never hook nothing up. They'll be able to get that shaft and stuff lined up. So, yeah. Well, I think I'm going to put this back in the back of the truck. And then I might go ahead and try to see if I can rebuild that starter right quick and then call it evening. I don't never film me working on stuff much. I just do the before and after results of the week because I'm usually kind of tired to fool with all. Usually when I do this stuff on the weekend, I set everything up and do all that. Edit me going fast forward, but usually through the week I don't fool with that. But all right, guys. Hopefully y'all catch me tomorrow evening putting those motor mount stuff in.